Awesome.
Because I need a mindful Austin mug.
Yes, we're
Yes,
gonna have to print some. We need to do that.
on our
Yeah.
to-do list.
Yeah. So, welcome everybody. Welcome to Mindfully Austin podcast. I'm Hannah and
I'm Lacey.
we're your hosts, and we have the awesome chef Rebecca Fitzgerald here. And we are so excited to welcome you on our podcast today. Thank you so much for being here, Rebecca.
Rebecca's the
Thank you so
owner of Mindful Meals. Am I saying that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And I am so excited to hear your story because I really believe in what you're doing. And I don't know, do you ever sometimes just don't have words?
Well, it's just a perfect match for us. I mean, the fact that you're mindful meals and Lacey was so excited to introduce you to me. And then I found your card in my drawer of cards. And so I'm like, well, I must have met you somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I got your card already and I already saved it because I was like, oh, we're going to have to interview her. So I don't know when that
Yeah.
was, but it was just a perfect synchronicity.
Mhm. Well, I think it's so sweet because the card that you have, I think might be my original card from when I first moved to Austin, and which was almost 7 years ago. And we met when I worked at Alive and Well,
Yes,
um, way back in like 2019. I had
yes.
just moved to Austin, and I was like going through my my Saturn return, and just really going through it in life. And my very good friend Sarah, who also works at Alive and Well, who you know, Sarah Ellen
Yeah.
Leach,
Yeah,
she
she
is
moved
a
now.
personal hero and a good
Yeah.
friend. And she actually gave me the idea for mindful meals
Oh,
because
wow.
she just like I hear from so many people, I really struggle with cooking, I hear that story a lot about how it's just kind of a sticking point for people. And so I wanted to give her a cooking class. So we had coffee, we had a little consultation, and I just kind of told her the dream of the business. And she says, well, why don't you call it Mindful Meals? And so I did. And
I love it.
yeah, and now
Like a
she's one of
full,
my closest friends, and it's just so sweet.
like a full circle moment.
Really,
Yeah,
it
full
is.
circle moment.
Yeah, me too. I love Sarah. Her and I are just, we get together and we're like, "Zzz," we're so excited.
She is the best.
Yeah, she's like a butterfly and I'm like a hummingbird and we
Oh,
just get
absolutely.
really
I love that
excited
so much.
together. Oh my
Yay.
gosh, thank you so much for sharing that with me here and bringing that back.
Absolutely. Shout out to Sarah
Hi,
and
Sarah.
Hey,
and the
Sarah.
community. I just
Yeah.
love that so much. She's definitely going to be seeing the podcast.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. So that was a huge, that's really was one of our first questions is tell us about your business and what inspired you to create it. So that just rolled perfectly right into there.
Yeah. Well, at the time I was working at Alive and Well, and I just really loved that concept. And the even the t-shirt that they gave us to work in, like our work uniform, I still have it. And I really love it says like um, discover the joy of being alive and well.
Yeah.
And so I was really resonating with that. And it just felt like such a blessing to work there. It really put me on this journey of getting out of the restaurant industry and into my own business, because the reason that I really started the business is I was in this like grind culture, which is really normal for chefs.
Hmm.
And uh, I was tired of it. I was tired. I was burnt out, and I was realizing that my dream of being a chef, which is something I have always wanted since I was a little girl, always wanted to be a chef. And I was willing, like as a going into culinary school, as a teenager, to do anything. I will do whatever it takes to be a great chef. And I did. I worked in the city. I grew up in Colorado, so I worked in Denver, downtown, in really nice restaurants. I worked crazy hours. I made menus. Like I did everything I thought I needed to do to be a great chef. And but I started hitting this wall of just, you know, burnout, sadness, and you know, dis-ease in my life. And so I just realized, like, once I kind of had that revelation, I couldn't stop seeing it. I just had to make changes. So that's kind of the idea of the business is I want to be more mindful about everything, the ingredients, the, the way that we work, everything.
Um,
So that's kind of how it
one
started.
Thank you so
I
much
love
for
that.
sharing that. I spent a lot of time on your website, and I am so drawn to the idea and that you've brought to life through your business of going and partnering with local farms and using seasonal ingredients. And you do this beautiful job online of educating anybody who goes to your space about that process. So I'd love to hear more about how maybe even going to the farm, meeting those people, working with that vegetables, how that process helped you to get back into a place of ease, a place of wholeness. Because part of what you shared with us that I also think is important for everyone to hear is how your business uplifts humanity by changing the paradigm in which we eat and source our food. And I'd love for you, you're going to do a much better job speaking about it than I am, but I that really spoke to me as I was spending time in your website and just getting to know you and what you do through that space.
Cool. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for exploring. I building the website was difficult for me because it really made me have to come to terms with my values and just be very vulnerable and put myself out there in a very public way. So I appreciate it. But so if you go back to working in the city, I'm burnt out. What I ended up doing was moving back home because I grew up in like a very small town. And so I cut ties with the city. I moved home and just by chance ended up getting a job at this really wonderful farm in Colorado called Peach Valley. And it's kind of like I'm reawakened to my love, to my passion, to my spirit from just sitting like in the field picking beans or, there was no hurry, there was no rush. And I had this revelation that this like field of beauty that I'm in, this is work too.
Yes.
Like work doesn't have to mean struggle
Mm.
because
So good.
it was like that
Yeah.
for me or like grinding. It doesn't have to be like that. And so just being able to, slowly make my way through the day and enjoy my, the farm, enjoy the chickens and the turkeys and pick strawberries right out of the field or pick up a warm melon and like break it open and share it with the people I was working with. It just lit me up in a way that I hadn't felt in a long time. And I knew that my passion wasn't gone. I didn't need to shift into a different profession. I just needed time and patience and grace and presence. And I just needed to get back to that, what that felt like.
Mm.
So I've always loved the farmer's market. It's something, every chef loves the farmer's market. And being able to walk around and just see it's it's like it's like cutting out the middleman and meeting the person who grows your food it just makes the ingredients feel a lot more real. This isn't just like a tomato you picked up off of the shelf. There's like a story behind it now. You know where it came from, the person who created it for you. And I think the energetic signature of that is like completely different.
Oh yeah, I was like so excited about that when you started talking about this because the prana, putting that we were talking about what you're doing for humanity and Lacey was mentioning how you're uplifting humanity through this. The intentionality, not only are you picking locally sourced food so that the energy content in that food is so much higher, but the love and the care that you're putting into it raises the vibration significantly of that food. And then the people that are eating it are bringing that into their bodies. And I don't think a lot of people, I know a lot of people do have awareness around that, but a lot of people don't. They don't realize that there's energy in food.
And you're helping the local farmers who that's their livelihood, and you're closing the gap of some of that, what you call the toxicities and the things like that. And to me, that's love. That's truly love. And the mindfulness aspect of it is you're living it, you're breathing it, you're making it expand and grow, and the food tastes better because of it. And people are nourished more and healed from that. And to me, that's miraculous. And that's what nature gives us. It's like coming back home to the cycles and the seasons of nature. And grind culture doesn't do that. It's like an endless summer or something. Like we have four seasons for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And shifting the menu and really connecting with those, like with what's available, what's fresh is the biggest joy of the day for me to be like, whoa, it's pepper season now, and you just see the like variety of peppers that are available, and it brings so much inspiration to me. And I just love that. It's great.
So cool. I'm so excited.
Thank you. And I when I first started the business, I was sourcing a lot of things from the farmers market, but I had to stop just because I ended up cleaning out the local markets. I was like, okay, I'll take everything on this table. And I couldn't really do that anymore. So now I work with a company, Farm to Table in Austin, and they source produce from all over Texas, from Texas, local Texas farms all over. And they're just wonderful.
Do you go to any local farms around here? Like, do you have relationships with any local farms around here?
There's a couple. There's like Onion Creek Farms that I know the woman from, and there's a farm in Wimberley that I always try and connect with, but they're a bit far from me now. They used to be called Dirt Candy, but they have a different name now. They just changed their names. And I would love to connect with more farms. Like that's always kind of the goal is like learning about new people, but it's once the business grew, I just started feeling like I didn't have the capacity, I guess, for
Right.
like the smaller farmers markets and stuff, but I need that because it's a cycle for me of working too much, realizing I'm working too much, and then coming back to the mission.
How many clients would you say that you have at this time that you do meal prep? So you do meal prep, you do cooking classes, workshops and events. We're going to have you do our retreat with us, I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah, I would love
Um,
that. Yeah, when I first started the business, I had a lot of like root chakra sort of fear going on. Like, am I going to be able to do this? Can I support myself? Can I make enough money to rent the kitchen, to do all the things I need to do? So I ended up working a ton, which was funny and ironic because that was like the reason I got into it was to not work as much. But working for yourself feels a little bit different.
That's true.
But we do weekly meal delivery every Monday, Tuesday. There's our menu is online and people order throughout the week, and then we do deliveries on Tuesday, and we do about 30 orders a week. But it's not always the same people. Last year we did 1,000 orders.
Wow.
wow.
So it's a lot. And then yeah, we have a lot of small events, and we do some cooking classes here and there, and I've probably done about 50 wellness retreats
Amazing.
where I'm not hosting them, but I go out to the retreat center and almost like become part of
Yes.
the container, part of the space, and I love that.
I'm so
So
happy to
that's
hear you say that because the retreats that I've been on, the chef is an integral part of the retreat in a
absolutely.
myriad of different ways. And in terms of nourishment, in terms of space holding, and it's really a beautiful gift on retreat to have someone like yourself who kind of has an intricate knowledge of the food that then you can then present it to everyone else and then they get to experience that nourishment and it's like a seed gets planted.
Yeah, I love it. They give you so much love. Like it's a ton of work, but the love, the awareness that I receive is just it's, second to none. It's the best.
Go ahead.
Well, I was also going to say it's the practice of retreat is integral for my mindfulness practice, for my spiritual practice. It's something that I learned through my meditation teacher training, and it always helps me to come home to myself. Like you said, going to the farm was kind of this, you kind of retreated in a sense. So I'm curious because one of our questions is how do you show up for yourself and how do you care for yourself when you're giving so much to so many? Do you find that when you're on retreat, that you're able to also hold the space to retreat for yourself? And does that nourish you?
Yes, definitely. It's a little bit of a, duality there because it is a lot of work. So I end up, taking a lot of naps because it's a lot of work. But the retreat leaders are so generous and loving, and all of the people are so loving that I get a lot of nourishment from that. And yeah, just the moments of like sitting in the welcome circle, breathing, participating in the grounding meditation, it nourishes me a ton. And being able to be on the land or sit in the sauna, just having that space to take time for myself is so good. But it can be a little hard because the last time I did a retreat, I did this amazing 9D breath work, right? And it was like you have the headphones on, you're doing the breath work, it's like talking in your ear, all of these things are happening. And when I came out of it, I was like, am I human? Like, am I alive? Like, what is going on? And then I was like, okay, back to work, like, time to go cook dinner. And so we floated through dinner that day, but yeah, the retreat is wonderful. And to show up for myself, what I have for the answer of that is just kind of to be present in my body because I'm a really like of the mind kind of person. And so just having that constant practice of breathing, grounding, dropping into my heart, into my body is kind of how I take care of myself. But I love retreats. They are so good. And last year I was finally like got to the point where I was successful enough with the business where I took myself on a retreat to Costa Rica and it was like the highlight of my whole life.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
Where in Costa Rica?
Oh gosh, I'm not sure. We were in the right around the town of Montezuma.
That's where I hosted a retreat there. That's what I was
Really?
thinking. Yeah.
What was the retreat center called?
It was Hotel Los Mangos.
Oh my gosh, there's so many down there. Gosh, what was it called? I don't even remember, but it was with Kim Goyette. She's the
I
the
love
meditation mother in
Yeah.
Austin, and she's wonderful. I do a ton of retreats for her.
Cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
went there I led my first retreat. It was an international retreat. My friend Amy and I. So it was a yoga and art retreat, and we arrived a couple days early to set up, and it was like mango rotting on the ground season. And so I get there and there's the most like there's amazing mango trees, but the most atrocious smell. And I was like, oh no, we cannot like how is this going to happen? But luckily, in a couple days, the rotten mango just became part of the scene. We got used to it. The olfactory kicked in, and we couldn't really smell the rotten mango anymore. But yeah, that was wild. That was so much fun.
Wow, I love Costa Rica. It's such an abundant place.
It's
Such
magical.
a great place.
It really is.
I love the 03, zero tres, but zero stress.
Oh, I love that.
03 everywhere.
Yeah.
I want to back up a tiny bit just because you mentioned knowing that you always wanted to be a chef. And I'm wondering, like, where did that begin? Where did you first, where was that seed planted? Or was it something your mom did or your grandma? Or like, how did you know you always wanted to be a chef? What was the thing that called you to that?
It's a great question.
Well, my mom and grandma were both wonderful cooks and are both wonderful cooks. But they they had a very simple palate. Like they were very meat and potato kind of people. But my mom, like to her credit, cooked dinner every night for us.
Mm.
You know, we were always cooking. But I found that like some of the stuff that she made just it wasn't very exciting to me. So
Mm.
I was always kind of reaching and like I was always very creative. But I think the thing that did it for me the most was the fruit trees
Mm.
in so in Colorado, something that's really prevalent is like stone fruit trees, so peaches, cherries,
Mm.
plums, things like that. And everybody had them. Like they were in everybody's yard, right? And so we would walk around as like young kids, you know, you're out till the street lights come on, right? And so we would like wander the neighborhoods and steal people's fruit off their trees because they'd be like hanging over the sidewalk and so as you walk home from school, you can be like, oh, I have some cherries over here and then some apples over here or peaches or whatever. And it just made me so happy
Mm.
to, it was like abundance was everywhere. And
Mm.
so that's kind of what I came back to when I came back to the farm. I was like, oh yeah, I love this.
Love
It
that.
was always the produce that made me the happiest. You know, my dad had a huge garden and just being able to go out to the garden and like have my dress pulled up like a little basket, you know, and put little tomatoes and lettuce and, you know, little things in there and then go inside and make a salad for dinner. It just felt so real and natural.
Mm.
And I still love that. It's still something that brings me just so much joy.
So you shared
Hungry.
that you're kind of in the process of shifting your business. So, and I love how vulnerable you are and how authentic you are, because you
Yes.
shared that with us, and we were just talking via email, and that showed a lot to me about your courage and your character. I'm curious how you went from a meat and potatoes gal into being plant-based, and then now you're kind of shifting into maybe a different model. So I'd love for you to speak on that if you are willing.
Absolutely. It's honestly been something that has been so heavy on my heart for so long. And I just kind of have to honor it. There's a point where I can't fight against myself or my, you know, whatever. So I was always a meat and potatoes girl. I went to culinary school and I kind of got that exotic itch out of me. Like I ate oysters, I ate stinky cheeses, I drank a ton of wine and really just like developed my palate into this sort of like classical French. You know, I came up in a very classical way in the industry. And then, you know, then when I moved to Austin, I just felt like I needed a detox. And
Mm.
it sort of happened naturally. Like I would buy eggs and they would just sit in my fridge. I like didn't want them anymore. All I wanted was vegetables, really. And things like hummus and vegetables and breads were just like felt really good to me and I wanted a ton of juice.
Mm.
It was like I bought a juicer and I was just like it felt like the elixir of life. I was like this is it. This is it. This is so good. And so it kind of felt like what I really needed was a detox. And even things like I would go to my favorite restaurant and my favorite like chicken dish, it just started to taste wrong. And
Mm.
I just started to feel like, well, this is like it's like dead. It's a dead animal. And so and then there was like the whole moral side of it of you know, you're taking an animal's life. And to not have like the deepest reverence for that
Mm.
makes it kind of, you know, it's like doesn't have any meaning when you're just like doing it mindlessly. So I kind of shifted to be plant-based. And so when I started the business, I really just wanted to help people go back to the basics.
Mm.
The vegetables, the beans, the grains, the healthy fats. And I felt like it's easy for people to grill a piece of chicken. Like they're comfortable with that. They know what they like, they know how they like it, and it's easy to like put it on top. But what I tell people is, I'm going to take care of all the other food groups for you. Like there's a lot of them. And that's what I heard from everybody is I buy veggies, they go bad in my fridge. I don't know what to do with them. And, you know, things like cooking whole grains, it just takes too long. So I wanted to try and make that easy, streamline that process for people. And then and I still believe that. Like I believe that. And then about 2 years into that process, I just started to go down this like really bad health journey where my hormones were really messed up. My cycle was off. Not to go into it too much, but I was having all these liver pains. Like I'm having these awful liver pains, and my legs started going numb, where I'm like trying to work, but my whole leg starts going numb. And it felt like I was hitting rock bottom in like this health journey that I was on. And my anxiety, like I was working a ton in the business, my anxiety was ramping up, and it was like I was just constantly on edge. And then I found this amazing traditional medicine doctor in Wimberley, and she basically told me, like, your anxiety is not you. It's an imbalance in your hormones. It's connected to your cycle being off. Your high cortisol is because you're having too many carbs. Like you need to stop eating so much sugar. Not just like, because I'm like, well, but my diet is so healthy. Like, what do you mean? She's like, well, bread, rice, potatoes, those things are all sugar. So you're having too much sugar, you're not having enough protein, and if you really want to heal your cycle, you need to go carnivore.
Wow.
Which was a huge deal for me,
That's
obviously.
a big change.
It is a really big change.
That must have taken a second for you.
Oh my God, it hurt me. And when I finally accepted it and just was like, I'm just gonna try this. I'm gonna try it. So I started getting into a lot of traditional Chinese medicine, like herbal blends, and between that, the acupuncture, and starting to eat, it was a very limited diet. It was like beef, eggs, and butter. No cheese, no dairy, no vegetables.
Oh my gosh, that
And
must have been so
it's
horrifying for you.
it was really, really difficult.
Yeah.
But it kind of felt like it brought me back to life a little bit. And I only did it for 10 days.
Okay.
And then I just realized, like, I need vegetables.
Yeah.
Like, so I started slowly adding things back in. But it was basically a keto diet that really did it for me. No carbs, lots of fat, lots of protein, and lots of like low carb vegetables. And I followed that against the feelings of my heart. When I'm like cooking meat, I'm like, it makes me sad.
Yeah.
It feels difficult. And all of my vegan friends just being like, I can't believe you're doing this.
Yeah.
I just can't believe it. And I had to just trust it and listen to my body. And my body just kept telling me, like, I feel amazing for the first time. And the other thing I did is I quit drinking coffee.
Okay.
No more coffee. And when I quit drinking coffee, like my anxiety was cut in half.
Wow.
All of a sudden, I felt like a new person. And I had to just follow that. So I've been on that journey for the last couple of years. I've added vegetables back in, and I do my best because carbs are absolutely everywhere. So they're really hard to avoid.
So how do you
But
reconcile with, what is your process of reconciliation with the animal protein that you eat now?
well, I just do my best to get the best quality that I can. I try not to eat at restaurants as much as sourcing it myself. And I found a company called A Better Way, like it's called A Better Way Beef. And they, they're like everything I was looking for. It was like no any of the things that I wanted, no preservatives, no antibiotics, no vaccines, things like that. And so it's just goes right back to like the mindfulness of the veggies. And I always wanted that, like coming up in the industry, like I want to buy my bread from the baker. I want to buy my meat from the rancher. I want to buy my veggies from the farmer. It just feels more human and more natural. So just trying to get back to that and just having that kind of reverence for the animal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, taking that time to be like, thank you for giving your life for my life.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal. And I still, you know, it's difficult for me to reconcile even now because it's just hard. You know, you see those videos and stuff of the chickens locked up or the animals crying. Like, it breaks my heart. But I have a background where like my great grandfather was Native American, and so I like have really deep roots with that kind of lineage, and it reminds me of the story of like the buffalo, you know, and that they would use the whole buffalo, and it was there was like this deep reverence for it. And so just trying to connect with that is what kind of helps bring me back.
This
Yeah,
feels
that's beautiful.
like a full circle moment for you. And
Yeah.
everywhere along the whole journey, you listen to your intuition, you listen to your body, and you trusted it, and nourishment followed. And it sounds like you've done that with your business too. And you said something that kind of like hit me because I recently did my own personal retreat, where I was meditating on different emotions. And you said that when you cooked the meat, it made you feel sad. And I will never forget, after I graduated meditation teacher training, I was sitting in a circle with a very renowned teacher. And I was asking her a question about inspiration for teaching. And do you ever lose your inspiration? Like, does it ebb and flow? That was my question.
Hmm.
And she looked at me and she said, I think you're sad. And I got pissed. Like, I was so angry. I felt so vulnerable. I felt so like everyone was staring at me. And she was right. And I sat with that sadness. And I've come to read a lot of her books, and I've come to learn the teachings of sadness through a Buddhist perspective, and how important sadness is for love. That you cannot truly have love without sadness, because it opens us up and it reminds us of impermanence. And impermanence reminds us of the importance of practicing non attachment.
Mm.
And that's mindfulness.
Absolutely. And just yeah, those feelings of like empathy
Yes.
and respect and awareness,
And
like
compassion.
and compassion. Yeah.
And I feel like what you do with your work and with food is so compassionate. I learned that empathy and compassion are a little different in the way they work in the brain. That empathy, you're feeling what the other person's feeling, so your body's actually excreting all the chemicals that like that other person would feel. So if they're feeling something really hard, then you're feeling that hardness too, and it affects your body in the same way. But if you can recognize that you're experiencing empathy and move into compassion, which is empathy in action, then your body's chemicals start to actually produce more feel good, positive hormones that are conducive to health. I thought that was really a powerful shift.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's been hard for me because I put out I've been running a plant-based business. All of my customers more or less are plant-based, and so I put out a customer satisfaction survey. You know, do you like my meals? What do you think about it? Like, what would you like to see more of? How would you feel if I added animal protein to the menu? And some people said like I said ethically sourced animal protein.
Mm-hmm.
And they said there is no such thing as ethically sourced. Like there's no such thing. So I have a lot of fear around, you know, betraying the community that I care about so much
You know,
and yeah.
yeah, this came up at my NLP training this past weekend. Funny that you mentioned that. If somebody's stuff comes up for them, that's their stuff. If like when we have baggage that shows up, it's a joy because that means we get to process it. When our baggage turns up for us, it's ready for the light. It's ready to be released. It's ready to be looked at and absorbed, and we grow from it. You can't be responsible for somebody else's baggage coming up. That's on them. They can process their own stuff. And I mean, my mom's a vegan. I've had diehard vegan friends who have made the journey and have reconciled after like realizing that they're fighting and they're putting negative energy towards people, and that's the opposite of what they're trying to do, which is peace, love, and compassion. So I've seen people go through their own journey, and I've seen, I've walked out of PETA documentaries in tears and then didn't touch any animal products for years myself, and have had to go through my own journey of reconciliation on that as well. And one thing that I'm learning about you, which is so cool in this short conversation, is that you have shown up for yourself with compassion and curiosity and awareness throughout your journey. And you've listened. Yeah. You've listened to your inner call, and your inner call is all that matters for you. Following that. And when you follow that, that's your compass. You can't be led astray when you're listening to your heart and your inner voice. Some people might fall off and they might come back. And it's their journey. It's their process to figure out why they're being triggered or being in judgment. And all you can do is send them love and compassion and forgiveness for your own heart. There's nothing you can do to please everybody. And you might gain a bunch of other people.
That's what I was going to say.
You're going to gain people that value and appreciate that you're getting ethically sourced animal protein. What if they never thought of it that way? What if they never considered that? And you're going to open up so many more doors for people and their growth. So it's about you and your mission, and you can't be responsible for other people's triggers.
That's true.
Create that. Yeah, it's been a huge journey in my life. This is to like break through the fear.
Yeah.
Like when I first moved to Austin, I was really, really afraid of jumping off the rock at the Greenbelt into the water. And there's like not a lot of, I mean, there could be a rock in there. Yeah. You don't know. You could hurt yourself. But I really practiced. Even before that, I lived in Colorado, never learned how to ski. Like always really wanted to, grew up, and I just lived in fear for a long time. Like, and just like shame. Mm-hmm. And when I first started seeing my doctor, and even Sarah, who used to treat me, she's like an amazing acupuncturist, she would put her hand on my heart and say, "Why are you holding so much shame? Mm-hmm. I feel that. I feel it in you." And so, yeah, it's been a practice to let that go and just like stand in my power, follow my heart, follow my intuition, and just know that this is my journey. And it makes sense that, if I look at it from a third party perspective, like this journey for you makes sense. And I'm just following it to its most natural conclusion.
I so appreciate your vulnerability.
God, thank you. I have been dreading it. I mean, not dreading it, but there's a lot of it's heavy on my heart. So
yeah, and that shows how deeply you care and how deeply you feel, which is a beautiful, beautiful attribute. I think it was Elizabeth Gilbert who talked about how fear is part of every single creative's journey, and how she writes in Big Magic. I actually read this book on my retreat in Costa Rica. Now I'm getting a memory. And she said, I had to tell fear, you are not allowed to drive anymore. You're actually not even allowed to sit in the passenger seat. You can go sit in the back seat, but you're not even allowed to touch the radio. I see you, you're here, but you're just riding in the car along for this journey. And fear is part of our journey. And I love to think of it as false evidence appearing real. And to rewrite that story in my head to say, hello, I see you, but I'm going to move forward anyway, because I know on the other side of fear is where the magic happens. And it sounds like you're in this beautiful moment of creative evolution and change and vulnerability and all the things that are showing up for you, these real human emotions, and you're alchemizing them to expand your business and to expand your palette and to expand what health looks like. And every single person who finds you and is magnetized to you will be able to choose their own journey and adventure when it comes to food. And that's really cool.
Ew, I agree. I love it. I'm a big mantra person, like that I have so many mantras that kind of guide me and help remind me of my lessons or whatever. And one of the ones I love is the life that you want to live is on the other side of fear.
Yeah.
Like there's all these things you want to be that girl. You know you do. Go sing karaoke. You want to. You want to be that girl. So, you know what I mean? Like, so I just have to remind myself that. And it's been hard because there's a lot of logistics to it. There's a lot of, the back to that root chakra thing. Like, what if it just fails? But I just know I need to follow my heart. And
Yes.
so I wanna practice. It's like balance. Like, I'm not gonna scrap everything and start over. I'm just going to supplement and add and try and respect everybody's journey because we also do everything gluten free,
Yeah.
which is a lot of people struggle with. So I want to be able to still offer the whole foods options because I do believe in it. It's the vegetables that I love the most out of anything. But just trying to have less carbs and add in some animal protein to the people that want to add that because I want to be able to expand my community offerings to other groups that need it a lot. Like the ones that have been getting like calling to me the most lately are like seniors
Mm.
who struggle to like who don't want to cook for themselves anymore because it's just one person at home or you know what I mean. And then the other group is moms and postpartum women. I've been doing a lot of work with postpartum women, and that's what really pushed me over the edge of like, I have to do this, make this
Working
change.
women.
Yeah, working women. Well, yeah, right. And I mean, it's just anybody who needs a little help at home. Everybody's so busy these
Mhm.
days.
Well, I am so grateful for what you're doing and excited to taste your food.
Me too. I'm really hungry
I
now.
just want to eat.
I did eat eggs this
Awesome.
morning from my neighbor's backyard, so I was really excited about that.
Oh, oh
Yeah.
gosh, having chickens would be a dream. I don't have any right now, but I will someday.
Yes. I can see
Make
you
me
having
so
your
happy.
own farm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that's the dream, right? Everybody has the same dream. I want to own land. I want to have community. I want to like raise my kids around other kids and other like-minded moms. So I feel like if enough people could just get together, have the same dream, we could make it happen. That's like the new
Absolutely.
earth.
It
We
is
need to
the new
build
earth.
a new earth.
We're a part of it. That's what Mindfully Austin is all about.
Yeah.
There's so many incredible people around the world, but we want to hyper focus in on what we have right here, this community. Let's support and foster this community here in Austin and
Absolutely.
surrounding areas. By the way, 78669 is like right next to 78738. We're like Spicewood East is basically just right there on the other side of your border. I was on your website like
Gosh, I'm planning on expanding.
78669 goes really far away from where I am. I'm right here in West Cyprus.
I'll have to write it down. What is it? 70.
So don't get scared when you look at all of 78669 because that's far. But there's a section of 78669 that's basically 78738. I'll show you.
Well, we can always meet you, and we have free pickups.
Cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'll meet
I'm
you at the
I'm also
border,
planning.
5 minutes away.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just meet. I also plan to expand into Cedar Park in the next
Oh,
couple weeks.
awesome.
I get a lot of requests there. The only reason we don't go to Spicewood, my driver, my main guy told me is there's one way in and one way out. And so it takes a long time to like drive all the way to the end of Spicewood and all the way
Well,
back up, but
the end of
I don't like
Spicewood is
deliveries.
very far. Like I could drive for 25 minutes like towards Marble Falls and still be in Spicewood. But if I
Exactly.
drive for 5 minutes on 71, like or 3 minutes, I'm in
Mhm.
Bee Cave. I'm like there's a
Right.
one section of Spicewood that says Spicewood, but it's basically Lakeway Bee Cave Triangle.
Right. The delivery schedule is so strange for me because I don't like driving or taking deliveries. And it's a lot when you're like, okay, everybody. order, and then you get all these orders, and then you're like, oh wow, how am I going to fulfill all of these things?
Yeah.
So the logistics of it are a lot. I've always kind of tried to, I like to say incremental growth.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think
that's the
that's
way
wise.
you grow.
definitely. Well, we're so excited to meet with you and introduce you to our community and plan all kinds of fun events with you. I feel like you're just a natural born person in this community, like a perfect fit, and
Thank
especially
you.
our growing alive and well. I was with Shannon yesterday, and we were reminiscing about all of that time. Oh, so
Amazing.
special. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time, and we're so excited to see you soon.
You're
So
so welcome. I'm honored. I'm honored to be here.
So grateful, Rebecca. Is there anything else that you would like people to know about your business, where they can find you, how they can order from you, how can they can learn more about locally
Mhm.
sourced food?
And we will have all of that linked as well.
Perfect. My website is mindfulmealstx.com. I plan to expand the menu to have some. I'm not very good with computers, so I'm working on with a website builder to help me with that. But I plan to launch that in probably October. That's
Exciting.
the plan. Uh, but you can find out everything you need to know on my website. You can contact me from there. I'm expanding the website to have more information about our retreats. Uh, we have so many different services, and I think that's all. That's all.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. I
So
just
grateful.
really, really appreciate being here and sharing everything with you guys.
Oh,
We're
so
so grateful.
grateful.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Y'all have a great weekend.
You
You too.
too.